We're off to a boom and start.
We'll cut it out.
Welcome to our podcast.
Yeah. Take two. The whole podcast is just us being like, and welcome again to
Happy Tuesday!
Happy Tuesday.
Another Tuesday, another episode of On The Porch with Front Porch Music.
This week on the podcast, we have country artist Brittany Kennell join us. Jenna and Brittany like to talk a lot about books.
Sorry in advance.
Heading into this episode, Jenna said, Logan, I'm going to need you to make sure we don't talk only about books, because this could quite easily turn into a podcast about books.
We talked about books 3 times, but he kind of steered us back, so...
I was only partly successful.
It's true. We talked about Britt's journey over the last 10 years. She went to school in Boston before moving to Nashville, and her time on The Voice as the first Canadian on Team Blake.
That was really cool.
And then deciding to move home, which was so great for her career and for her personal life and personal growth and being back with her family. We talked about the country music scene in Quebec and Montreal.
And the celebrity system in Quebec, too.
Yeah, we did.
And just before we get into the episode, I just want to say thank you for listening every week. And if you like this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe. It's the easiest way to support this show.
We hope you enjoy our episode with Brittany Kennell. Brittany Kennell.
Good morning.
How is Montreal this morning?
just frigid.
Just
Mhm.
frigid.
Frigid.
Just
At least yesterday we had sun, so it was like hopeful,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
I feel like I haven't
Today's
seen the
just,
sun in a month.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned to me yesterday that Toronto, somebody did like a stat or whatever, and that you guys have only had sun for like 34 hours
Yeah.
or something.
That would explain the depressies.
That
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Seasonal depression is real.
Oops.
I never used to get it, but this year I'm like feeling it.
Yeah. I think I
just
find
can't-
the older I get, I'm like, ooh, like this is gray.
I've been
Yeah, that's fair.
using a dropper for vitamin D3, and I've been filling the whole.
okay.
You can't overdose on vitamin D3. The whole dropper
I
into my
think so.
coffee every morning.
An ODD.
What? You can't taste it.
It doesn't taste like anything?
No, you can't taste it. I one time
Okay.
well, I mean, it tastes like something if you just like
Just raw dog
just
it?
shoot it into your mouth.
Gross.
And I've done that. And it wasn't good. It tasted like olive oil a little bit, but
Yeah.
if you put it in your coffee, it works wonders.
Not
I
too
think.
bad. Yeah.
So Jenna warned me about today that
Okay.
that I'll need to keep us on track, because she warned me that this could quite easily become a book club.
It definitely can. We can totally go into a different world here and just
Yeah.
chat about books. This could be a book podcast. Forget music.
I was actually gonna say, I was like, when are we starting our book club podcast?
I'm down.
You, me,
Don't tempt me.
Haley B.
Not me.
What a trio.
So my friend Aubrey Sellers and I started a book club. I don't know if I told you this. We started like a Instagram called
Really?
Video Click. Yeah.
what?
A long time ago. We were on it for a long time. And we were
Really?
posting, we did like blogs, like we had people joining, like it was legit. And then I think at one point we were gonna do a podcast, and then we just, I think this was around COVID, so I think that's when like things just all kind of fell apart. But we were doing a book club for a while.
Oh my gosh.
So maybe we could revive it
Let me in.
and bring you in.
Yes. See? Book club. Here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah, I know. Logan.
So
Step
for
in.
anyone just dropping into the conversation, we're talking with Brittany Kennell.
Yeah. Book nerd.
Yeah. It's in her Insta bio.
Yeah.
Welcome to our podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I feel like this is going to be fun just to chat, and
Oh.
we'll get a lot of laughs.
So why don't you, you've had an interesting journey so far in your career. Why don't you take us back to the beginning, how music came into your life, and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Those
Yeah, it
humble
was
beginnings.
definitely way back. I'm an old gal, so we go way back.
Please.
About to be put out into the pasture, you know. Like,
I think I'm the old gal here.
I don't know what it is. I just every day I'm like, wow, I'm just feeling older and older. But yeah, I would say it started when I was really when I was younger, younger, when I was 8, my sister was taking piano lessons and she hated them. Like she was like loathed, like temper tantrum in the car to like go to these piano lessons. But I'd be sitting there like, I want to try, but I also just wanted to do everything she did. So when she was kind of fed up with them, I took over, and piano was like my first instrument. I loved it. And I was, at the same time, it kind of started my love for songwriting. Up until that point, like I started doing journals that I still have. So I have these journals from like 5th grade, all the way up until now. Like I still keep journals, and that kind of translated into songwriting, like with the music and doing my piano lessons, and just with like the neighborhood group. Like we had a Spice Girl group. Um, we had a songwriting group. Like I don't know, it was always around. My parents were big music lovers, so there was always music in the house, and they would take us to shows and concerts, um, and then in high school is kind of when I really started to not take it more seriously, but I was a little more invested, and um, picked up a guitar and did the variety shows and started playing at little bars, um, and then so it's not the same schooling system in Quebec as the rest of Canada. So we have CEGEP after high school. So we go to CEGEP for 2 years. And that's kind of where I was like, okay, I think music is the path I want to take. So it was always there. Like it was always hovering. It was just something I loved to do. It wasn't something my parents forced me to do. And yeah. And then just as I grew up and got older, I just decided to take it more seriously. I would tell myself like, okay, there's a career here. Like I could have a career in music. So,
but it
hopefully.
looks like you posted, what was this called? It was your songs from the vault, Give Up Girl.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
you were like, I'm gonna do this, but everybody else was like, don't do that.
Yeah. Oh,
Don't
yeah. I've had a lot of people throughout my whole like career. Like even when I moved to Nashville, it was like, why Nashville? Like, why are you moving there? And the thing about music is like, it's not, I don't know, like it's not seen as like a job or a career, or it's like, it's really seen as like, oh, it's a hobby. Like when are you gonna grow up and get a real job type thing? But yeah, like that song came from a place of like just the amount of times I've heard people say no or don't do it, or you know um, just the amount of doors closing on me to like not do music. And it's a part of me. I could never not have music in my life. So, and that's just born and bred with me. That's from when I was very, very young. It's not something I can just like, okay, yeah, I think I'm done music. Like, you know. Um, so yeah, that song kind of came from hearing no a lot. And like in that little video, I talk about my guidance counselor, and I remember her going around the room asking everybody what they wanted to do. And at that point, like for me, it wasn't, oh, I want to be a musician, I want to be an artist. I just knew like I wanted to go to the States. For some reason, I just was like, I want to go study. I don't know what, but I just want to go to study in the States. And she was just like, yeah, well, you don't have the money and you don't have the marks. So put your hand down and think of something else next. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't say that, but like, I'm going to show you. No, and I don't know if that was her tactic, because like I've spoken to other students, and like a lot of students that went on to pursue the career they wanted to, they were like, yeah, she told me not to do it either. And I always wonder, like, maybe that was just a tactic to see, I don't know.
Or it didn't work for her, so she's bitter.
Maybe. Could be that too.
Are you gonna do more songs from the vault? Because I love that.
Yes. You know what's funny? Like I'm shy. Like I'll be honest, like with video content and TikTok, and like this is like I gotta like work myself up. I don't know if you've seen the meme of like Drew Barrymore from that movie. What's the movie? Anyway, she's sitting in a class and she like goes back to school. Anyways, and it just says like, this is how I feel being like a 30-year-old on TikTok. And like I see that meme and I'm like, oh my God, that's how I feel. Like it's so difficult for me to just find my voice. And I'm also very conscious of like what other people are doing and not wanting to do that. So when I see people doing the same type of videos. I'm like, how do I not do that? Like, how do I make it my own? And how do I try to keep me and my voice? Because I think it's very easy to develop like the internet voice of like, you know,
Yes, definitely.
I don't know. Yeah. So I'm trying to just, it's taken me a long time to figure, and still to this day, trying to figure out my lane. But that being said, like Songs from the Vault, I have so many songs that I've written over the years that are just sitting on my phone, my laptop. And I'm like, I got to share these because you never know like who will hear it or relate to it. And, you know, so yeah, definitely more songs from the Vault.
Yay. It has to become a little series.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like that just to share, I don't know, some goodies.
You should make it The Vault and then in brackets Brittany's version.
Like just I like the just saying.
I'm not even that big of a Swiftie, but I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, Brittany's version. I love it. I'm in. So next video you see, I'm gonna
do it.
Throw that in bracket.
Absolutely.
You should go back to some of those.
I should do like it's Brittany bitch is version.
You should.
Just tag all my some of my two favorite ladies. Taylor and
it's Brittany's version, bitch.
From the vault.
From the vault. I love it.
Oh, that's so funny.
So speaking of like your desire to, or the draw for you to go to the States, that kind of segues a bit into you becoming the first Canadian to appear on The Voice.
Yeah, weird.
How did that seems wild. How did that happen? Because I used to watch The Voice. I mean, I still watch The Voice. What? I used to watch The Voice when it first came out, when I had cable. And I remember you being on The Voice. I didn't, like, no offense, you weren't on my radar before then.
Yeah, and, I wasn't on anybody's radar.
And I just remember being like, there's a Canadian on here? Cool. Yeah. How did that happen?
It was honestly very like strange in a lot of ways. I had auditioned before, like I'd done their like cattle call type of auditions, and mainly because you're surrounded by other artists, like whether I was in Boston or Nashville, it was just like, oh yeah, like The Voice is coming to town or American Idol, and we should go line up. I think I did Canadian Idol back in the day, so it was kind of always I had done it, but at that point in Nashville, I had the audition through like I think it's just somebody on Facebook. They were like, oh, like we're doing an industry call, and at the time, for me, like I'm a nervous Nelly when it comes to one-on-one sessions with publishers and having to play them a song. Like
that seems like a bit weird.
It's hard. Like you're in a small room. It's like you're not. I don't know. It just like it's just so totally different from performing on a stage. And so I did the voice audition as like a way to practice. Like I was like, I just want to get out there, practice in front of these one-on-ones. Like I had no inkling that I was gonna ever be on TV. Like I was like, there's no way. Just and part of that comes from like not being confident vocally, because for me, I loved songwriting. Like I was doing the artist thing to like put out music or record demos because I wanted to be known as a songwriter. But like vocally, I was like, I can't compete. Like there's some vocalists out there that just can rip it and they're so good. And like, what am I doing? Like, you know, trying to be a vocalist or an artist. And so, yeah, I went, actually I was deciding to not go to the audition, and I went to the Frothy Monkey in Nashville to read my book. Instead, you know, just bringing back the book. What book was I reading? Oh my god, I wonder if I have that written in my journal. I might have it written down. So I went to read, and then I'm sitting there reading, and then the song that I was planning on doing for the audition came on the radio, which was Dreams, Fleetwood Mac. And I was like, maybe this is a sign. So I was like, okay. So I shut my book. I run home. I grab my guitar. Like I get to the audition with like 10 minutes to spare. It was the end of the day. And I go in and they're like, okay, yeah, we like you. I was like, okay, like, cool. Thanks so much. Like, see you never. And they're like, no, like, we're going to like call you for the next round. I was like, are you like, sure?
Are you sure?
you sure? Like, I don't know. And
You don't
then,
have
like,
to. I mean, it's fine.
you don't have to. It's fine. Yeah, totally Canadian. Like, sorry about that. Like, totally fine. Like, and then they called me and they're like, okay, we're gonna fly you to LA. And I was like, again, like, are you sure? And so they flew me out, did the audition, and again, like, they just kept putting me through, and like these rounds. I think that you had to go through 2 or 3 rounds maybe before getting to like the blinds.
Hmm.
And so then I did the blinds, and like that was a 6 week long process. Like I was there in LA for 6 weeks, and yeah, which was crazy. And again, like I just didn't think I was gonna be on it. And if I was on it, I was gonna be like part of the montage that they like breeze over, and they're, you see me for like 0.5 of a second. And when we were there, the way it works was like each night they would call out who's going the next day. And they would do that until the teams fill up. And they would separate. So once you got on a team, you went to a totally different hotel. You weren't allowed to have your phones or your laptops. They took everything from you. So there's no communication because they didn't want people to know, like, what team is filling up, and I get that because you get in your head, like it's very easy to start counting the numbers and be like, oh, there's 5 spots left. Like, and so I was on the 3rd day, and that was the day that the teams did fill up, and there's people that have been doing this process for 6 weeks that didn't even get to sing. Like, it's crazy. Like, so anyways, I went, and Blake and Pharrell turned around and like just blackout, like just
I was gonna say, like,
total blackout.
Like, there's a couple weird things about the show, in my opinion, as a viewer, which is what makes the show.
Yeah,
it's an artist singing on a stage to literally people's back, which is like not the goal when you're an artist.
Right.
And then the anxiety of them not turning, like,
because you're watching, like you are, like I remember like leading up until that moment, my way of dealing with the stress and anxiety was I would walk on the treadmill at the hotel for like an hour and a half, like if not every day, every other day. And I would just visualize like, okay, walking out, sing the song. And like my goal was to just do the song justice. And I didn't care about getting on a team or not, because I just didn't want to be I don't know if this is a anxiety thing or whatever, but I just didn't want to do a bad performance. Like I didn't want to be like the laughing stock of the internet, like that just like terrible.
That's not anxiety. That is
valid.
Just
it's
like
a real fear.
The internet sucks.
It's valid fear. Oh, it's just scary. Like hence probably why I'm so nervous with TikToks and stuff. But so my goal was to just like put on a good performance, sing the song, and like whatever happens, happens. And yeah, it's scary. You're out there, you're performing to their backs. So at that point, you're like, okay, I can do this. Like, they're not looking at me. I can look at the audience and like have fun with the audience. And then the second they turn, like, I just remember like telling myself, like, don't even look at him. Like, just get back to the audience.
Because like that's like the other part of the show. Like, these superstars turn around and you're like, oh, now I have to sing to their face.
Yeah.
And like they turn around
a little
and
bit
I
of
don't
a
want to
shock
disappoint
too.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you've not seen, like, you don't know what they look like in real life. And then you see them in real life, you're like, oh,
like,
whoa.
Hey, Blake's pretty tall.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, okay, that is Blake Shelton. And like, yeah, I just remember, just don't look at him because I will choke and like, I don't know what'll happen or fall or something, But yeah, and then from there, like it just kept going. Like got to do blinds, got to do the what is next? The battles.
The battles, yeah.
Yeah, and that was super fun. And then it was the knockouts. And so that from there I kind of knew I was going home around the knockouts. I had a feeling. And at like again, like I went into this not expecting anything, which is I think the best way to go into these shows is having zero expectations. Because I see it. You see people that go in and think like, oh my God, I'm gonna be the next big thing. And you might, but that's a lottery. And like you can't have, I don't know. I'm all about dreaming big, but I think you also have to work your way up.
Yeah.
And
the amount of people that find massive success from these shows is like,
it's very slim.
One person per year.
Yeah. And
But
that's
even
it. Like,
then,
and even then, like, I think it's great to ride the wave, like use it to build your
absolutely,
next thing, but
it's
don't
a
depend on just
wonderful,
that.
like what's the term?
Launching pad or
That's the one.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's great for that. And I think if you go into those shows with that in mind of like, how can I benefit from this show in my own career path? And not just expecting, I think if you expect like, well, this is going to make me huge, so I don't have to do anything else.
Hmm.
It's like, no, there's a lot you have to do, and you can use this to benefit what you're doing. So I would say, like, for people that are doing those shows, like, start writing, start recording, you know, start building a little community, and um, yeah, use it as a stepping stone, but not as like everything.
That is so that's so interesting because you can see like today on you can watch on TikTok like this is when I people post their whole journey on that stuff and then
Yeah,
they disappear and you're like you had all of these people watching and you could have
yeah,
used that, right?
yeah,
And they just don't because
exactly.
it's like the defeat of not being the one they
Yeah,
picked in
it's
the
tough.
end.
It's super tough. And that's the thing, like it's so like mentally and emotionally hard because you do feel this like build up and this excitement and um people are watching and it feels like you're finally getting somewhere and like um and it ends very quick and they're doing 2 seasons a year. So the next season starts up, and that audience is like, they're there to watch the show. And sometimes they'll follow along the artists. Um, but it just ends really abruptly. And
Hmm.
then it's emotionally like, it is tough. Like, I definitely went through it after the show. You feel like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, how am I going to make the most of it? And you, yeah, you go through just very high and a low, like right after. And so, yeah, I think it's good to go in just no expectations, take it for what it is, and use it, but
Make the most of it.
don't make
Yeah.
it be everything.
Yeah. You went back to Nashville after you were done with The Voice?
Yeah, I went back to Nashville, and I think that was like a bit of a wake up call too, because there, like, there's so many people in Nashville that have been on that show that industry's kind of like meh, like cool, like
Really?
yeah, it really benefited me here. Like in Montreal,
Hmm.
like I'd never, like you said, the only Canadian on The Voice, out of Quebec, and like the support was wild. Like I had a media frenzy, and um, back in Nashville, it was kind of like crickets. Like it was just like
Hmm.
cool,
Welcome back.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back, welcome back again. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So it was just difficult in that sense. Like my expectations were set to Nashville. I was like, okay, finally somebody, maybe because I'm on the show, like somebody will help me pick me up. But then there was just some more no's. It was just like, cool, but no. Like, okay, great.
You mentioned earlier about like prioritizing being a songwriter. After
Hmm.
The Voice, were you starting to be like, I do want to be the performer and I do want to stay the artist?
Totally.
Or, yeah?
Totally. Yeah. I definitely was exploring that way more post voice because I think just getting a taste of being on stage like that and performing to that big of an audience, and it was really fun. And I what I really learned from the voice was how much practice went into one song. Um Whereas like up until that point, like I would practice songs and whatnot, but this was like next level. Like this was just building moments in the song and trying different vocal things. And like I really loved exploring how much time we got to spend on one specific song that you're performing. I had not done that to that extent in my career, so that was really cool to be able to do that. And I think post show I just wanted to get back on a stage and like, but this time with my own song. So that really kind of pivoted my dreams and goals a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then, so you lived in Nashville for what, 10 years?
No, so I was in Nashville about seven,
Okay.
8, and
Okay.
before that I was in Boston for 3. So I was in the
Right.
States for 10 years.
Nice. Oh, okay. You were in the States for 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
What's your like Nashville hot takes about,
Ooh,
like everybody dreams of moving to Nashville
yeah.
and then you get there and it's never like the stars and excitement that you totally expect. So what are your hot takes?
Yeah, it's tough. I love Nashville. Like it is an exciting town. There's so much talent. So much talent and just so much going on. Like everywhere every day it's like there's something. Um I moved there kind of before it was like a thing. And I don't mean to say that in a
Yeah.
like
No,
I
no,
did
no.
it first,
I did it
like
before it
it's
was cool.
I did it before it was cool. Um I did it at a time where it just was different. Like it was not how it is now. It was way smaller. Like there was like maybe one coffee shop that everybody would go to, and when there was like a show of somebody, it was like you knew that venue. Like it was just really a lot smaller than it is now. And I'm grateful I got to kind of experience like the tail end of the old Nashville. Um, and I love the new Nashville as well. But
Nashville,
I
Vegas.
don't the Nash Vegas, yeah. Oh my god, stay far away from Broadway. When I go there, I'm just like, no, not going there. But I'm trying to think. My hot take, like, I don't know. When I moved there, my parents cut me off. I had like $600 in my pocket, and I had to start working right away. Like I was waitressing at a country club and babysitting kids from the families at the country club, and I was working at a coffee shop on weekends, like everything I could to just make rent and make a living. And then in between there, I was writing songs and trying to network and all that stuff. For anybody looking to move there, like I think luck is a big part of it. Like for some people, they're lucky; they end up in the right rooms and whatnot. Otherwise, like no, it is. I think you have to know it's a grind. Like you're there
Hmm.
and it's try to meet people, try to connect with your people, um, and just know that that it's not overnight. It takes time, and I see it now. Like a lot of the people that I was there, like for example, Haley Witters, Hannah Ellis, um, who else is there that I've seen recently? Like they're starting to pop off now, and I was in the same writing rooms with them back in the day. And so they've been at it for 10, 12 years and they're finally starting to get their their well-deserved success. And so I think it's important for people to know like it is not overnight. It is not quick for most people, for majority. Like I said, there's the lucky people that maybe pop in and it works out, but
Yeah.
it's
What made you decide
yeah.
when it was time to come home?
Um, honestly, it was weird because I was not planning on coming home. My goal, because I knew it was a 10-year town, I was like, I told my parents, give me 10 years to make something of myself. I went through a breakup and I didn't know what to do. So at that point, I was living in my significant other at the time, his house, and I didn't really have anywhere to go. It was Christmas time
Oh,
and I had a flight
Oh,
home. Yeah. And I just kind of was like, I think I'm just going to go home for a second and figure it out because I just didn't know what to do. Like I wasn't in a position to buy a house or even renting my own was like it was expensive. So I came home at Christmas with my cat and and one suitcase, and I had majority of my I left most of my stuff there. I sold what I could in the 2 weeks leading up to my flight, and then I came home and I was around family and I really missed it. Like I just missed being able to hang out with my sister, go to the gym with her, or get a coffee with my mom, or go to my dad's house. And um, I really, yeah, I had been gone for so long that like I just was longing for that. And I went to LA. I was like, maybe I'll move to LA. So I was looking at apartments. I was there for about 2 weeks doing some writing sessions. And then I popped back to Nashville after that to sell some more of my stuff. And I was like, I think I just need a break from all of this. And it was the best decision I ever made. Like I moved back to Montreal and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a year off music and I'm just going to do other goals in my life that are not music. Because I had spent 10 years eat, drink, sleep, music. Like a psychopath. Like that's all I did. Like I did nothing else with my life but music. And I was like, I just need to live a bit of life for a second and do other things.
So now you're back in music.
Yeah, and I'm here, I'm sucked right back in.
You find that like taking that time off, are you able now to kind of, and being back in Canada, are you able, do you find that you're able to have a bit more of a balance?
Totally.
Yeah.
I have way more control of like not being obsessed with working all the time. I know now to like put my phone down and like go hang with friends, and not every day or every minute has to be me writing or singing or this or that. Just like I've taken a big step back, and I find that I think a lot of people could use that advice. Like it really helps it propels you way further when you rest, when you take a break, when you give yourself time to just live a bit. And I think that's what ultimately brought me back into music. Was I was taking that time off and was looking at other jobs. I was looking at trying to get in the business. I sent out resumes to a couple of music companies. Like I was like thrown in the towel with music, at least on the creative side. And the day that I didn't get a job at this company, I had a friend reach out to replace their lead singer on a tour, and I was like, I was like, okay. I was like, well, sure. I was like, I'll do it. And that kind of like reignited my love, and like it reminded me why I moved to Nashville in the first place. And I think I really lost that over the years.
Mm.
And I think it's easy to lose that in Nashville. Like another hot take, like you're, just BK's hot takes. I think it's just like it's easy to see so many people doing well in Nashville, or they're having their moment, or people are they're the talk of the town. So you start to think, well, I need to do that. I need to try to write like that. I need to sing like that. I need to dress like that. I need to talk like that. And you lose you and what makes you you as an artist, or a songwriter. Like you lose your voice, your touch. And so, which I did, like Exhibit A right here. Like I totally lost touch with who I was, and um, taking a step back helped me find that again. Help me find the love for the whole thing in the first place. Just with a little bit more control.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
now you have this insane music community in Quebec. Like we are
It's
always,
crazy.
we are. I don't know when we talked about this one time. I was like, country music in Quebec. And Logan's like, yeah.
Yeah,
And we've just been. I'm always
it's
like,
wild.
yeah. What the heck?
I know. And the funny thing is, like, there's
Quoi?
actually a deep, deep history, like, with French country music.
Mhm.
I think it's Willie Lamotte. I could be wrong. I don't want to. We might have to fact check this, but there is. I think it was like back in the 50s. There was a Quebec French artist that went down and played the Grand Ole Opry and sang his French country songs. And there's a really deep root of country music here. And so when I moved back after those, almost a year of taking off music, um, by a mutual friend in Nashville, I met my manager, Joelle, who's just a fantastic.
We love her.
Yeah, we love her. And she's so great with the Quebec music scene, and a force to be reckoned with. She took me to this thing called the Country Gala. And I was like, what is this? And I just was like shocked. I had no idea that this community existed. And just to give some context, like I grew up in a very English pocket of Quebec. So I'm considered an Anglophone Quebecer.
Okay.
And so, and it's weird because the Anglophones, we don't get the same media as Francophones. So there's times where she'll say an artist name. She's like, this artist is huge here. And I'm like, I've never heard of him or her. And like, it's wild. But then they're like, they're massive here.
I know, it's so interesting. Like Quebec has its, Quebec does a great thing with arts in that like
Mhm.
they have their own celebrity system in Quebec. Like so
Yes.
like artists and celebrities who are
Artists.
in Quebec are almost bigger than any
Yeah.
non-Quebec Canadian artist
Yeah.
in
Like
Canada.
the way they sell like CDs and venues, and there's a whole ecosystem here. And it was mind blowing when I
No
first
doubt.
moved back. I was like, had no idea this existed, because in my little English pocket, like, not that people laughed at me, but like country was not a thing. Like, far and few between there were country fans, but it was like, oh, it's too twangy, or
Mm.
country, like, I don't like that.
Mm.
It just was not a thing. So people would say like, oh, a country artist from Montreal, like, good luck. And then I found this whole community outside of Montreal, and it was just amazing. Like, it's been mind blowing, and it's been so fun. And the fans in Quebec are like diehards. Like, they just love country music, and they support the arts. Like you said, like, there's just a really
The Quebec culture is very art. I mean, there's a
very
lot
art.
more to
Yeah,
it, but it's very art heavy, which I think is really,
yeah,
really great.
it is. Like, there's so many crazy festivals here, and not just country, but like all kinds of festivals. And there's also like a really nice grant system as well, which is something I found, like, when I lived in Nashville. Like, I was very poor. Like, I couldn't afford anything, and like, to do a recording session, it was like, hey, like, can I buy you like a pack of beer? Like, I couldn't afford to pay people to even be in my band. Like, it was just, I was making tips, like, I didn't have money to do much. Like, people would say like, hey, come have a drink, and I couldn't go out because I didn't have money to go buy like a beer, or even offer somebody else a beer, until I moved here. And like, I also, just to more context, like, I do work another remote job. I do have a job in books. um, but
Pardon?
yeah, I did I not, I didn't tell you that.
No?
Here we are,
Yeah.
book talk again.
Oh my god.
But it's book TALK.
Yeah. So I work also remotely for a book marketing company, and that obviously has like really been super helpful for me to have a balanced music career. And not to mention also the fact that Quebec and Canada has such a great grant system for artists, like that. I don't think that exists in the States, and if it does, it's not like, I don't think they have that. And like, how amazing for artists here to just get that opportunity, because it is expensive, and I don't think that's
Mhm.
talked about enough. Is like, it's really expensive to be a musician. You're taking losses after losses. Like, it's not affordable to be a musician. And so the fact that Canada and Quebec has like at least some sort of opportunities for people that really do love it and want to pursue music, it's great. We're not missing out on those artists,
Definitely.
which is great.
Back to the Montreal music scene for a second. You got
Yeah.
to take part in the first Lasso Music Festival. How?
Yes.
And I feel like you're a partner with Lasso. I think, like, kind of.
Yeah. So I
permanently
did
now.
I was their ambassador last year.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh,
What
so
a
fun.
huge, like,
Huge.
we didn't go.
Oh, you
And
guys have to come.
It's a really cool venue.
It's really,
I've been
yeah.
to a
Oh, you've been
festival
to?
at that venue before,
Yeah.
but not
Did you
that
go to
specific
Osheaga?
festival. I've been to
Yeah.
Osheaga a few times. I
Okay.
used to live in
Cool.
Ottawa, so like Montreal,
Oh yeah.
I'd go to
Super
Montreal
close.
for a weekend all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Usually when
not
I was
far at all.
18 to drink.
Oh yeah, that's usually why people come here.
Yeah, yeah. Gatineau
It's
and
so
Hull.
fun. Everybody, I was like, oh,
That was my
Montreal,
dirty
18?
jam.
Yes. Wait, where did you go?
Gatineau and Hull.
Good. No, oh yeah, I love it. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Yeah, Montreal having a country music festival was like mind blowing, because I just, like I said, like, when I moved to Nashville, people were like, where, why, country music, like,
what? Yeah.
just wasn't a thing. And at least in my, I'm generalizing it, at least in my little corner of people. And so I think that first day that I played I think I was like one of the first acts that day that played on the Saturday. And I just remember like looking around being like just in shock. Like, I was just so happy to see that there were people that loved country music here and they want to support it, and they want to come out, and they want to be a part of it. And so I think I had a little moment on stage.
No doubt.
might have had a little tear in there. Got a little choked up, just because it was so cool, and like looking out in the audience, seeing like my family, seeing my friends, and like just knowing like all that I had sacrificed moving away, the amount of like years that I missed with my friends, like, and with my family, and just to see them there in our own city, it was like a really special feeling for sure. Got a little strobe light going on.
What in the?
I know.
I just was like, can we? How long are we gonna ignore this for?
It's just a little Montreal scene coming in, you know.
a little party.
Little party.
Stop it.
Literally, that's so. That's a lot. That's it's even brighter than when it's flickering there. It's a lot. Sheesh. Anyways.
Yeah. So a special moment for sure, and yeah, definitely brought a tear to my eye. I just loved seeing how happy people were that day getting to see country music
and like
getting to share that finally.
Yeah, and maybe if like it had been a thing before you were a musician in Nashville, and before you were a Berkeley student, before you were on The Voice, you wouldn't have been able. It
wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
wouldn't have been the same.
You wouldn't have carried all this experience with you to be on that, right?
Yeah, and that's why, like, when I saw they were coming, I was like, I have to be a part of this in some way. Like, this is me. Like, I sacrificed 10 years of my life to have this, like, here. And so, and I think about that, like the amount of times I'm with friends or family and they're like, oh yeah, I remember we went to that restaurant, or remember that birthday. And it's like, I missed all of that. Like, I missed holidays and precious memories with family to pursue music. So it just was like a full circle moment of like, okay, everything I did was worth it. And like, it's totally I'm finally getting somewhere. Yeah.
Yes.
It was really cool.
Well, speaking of getting somewhere, you have a new song out now.
I do. I know. Finally. I only put out 3 songs last year, and we were kind of working them to radio a little bit, so it made it difficult to put out more than that. But I've actually been sitting on this record for a little while now, and so I'm like, we got to get this out. Got to put this out here. So yeah, One Drink at a Time is a song I wrote with a friend of mine, Nathan Meckel, and produced by Ariel Posen. So he has produced the rest of this record, and I'm really excited to share that with everyone. Yeah.
I was gonna say, are we leading up to a new album?
Oh, well, definitely. Yes. Okay. So the 3 songs I've already released, and including, the 4th, One Drink at a Time. So these 4 are on this new record that'll be coming out soon.
Cool. And you spent much of 2023, I think, like especially the latter half on tour with Ariel Posen. So
yeah,
you're pretty tight, yeah, buddies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're buds, we're pals, and he's the best. I love Ariel, and it was really fun getting to work with him on this record because he's just very musical, and he's so smart, just in general with music, with theory, with placement of the instruments and all that stuff. And I really loved working with him too because he really nurtures the artist. Like because he's an artist, he's not trying to make me something I'm not. Like, he's not trying to lead me anywhere. He's just saying, like, let's create. And do you like this? Do you not like this? How do you hear this? What's your references? Like, he's very, very, just lets me be hands-on as well. So, which is fun for me to get to kind of be in on those sessions and have a say with these songs, which is really cool.
That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah, he's really great. He's so talented, and he's kind of been a mentor for me as well. Like, I've just learned so much, especially being on the road with him. Like, that was just a crazy experience, getting to really see how hard he works and how tough the road is, and how you really got to get out there and play shows and build your audience and meet fans. And it's like we were doing these tours, and he's like, yep, this is my 3rd time in the city. And it's like, now he's starting to see the build up, and you were there. Yeah, you came out to the Toronto show. Yeah, that's right. That was so fun.
I know.
I love that venue.
I've never been there. It's so nice.
Yeah, really cool.
Great Hall?
The Great Hall.
It's on, like, is it Queen or King West?
Yeah, I think Queen.
Oh,
no. Yeah,
somewhere
Queen,
in Toronto.
Yeah. Somewhere in Toronto.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Really nails it down.
Yeah. There were tram cars, and I don't know. which I love, by the way. I'm obsessed. Yeah, I don't know why. I just love the little tram cars you guys have in Toronto.
That's my only form of. I'm not much of a transit user, except for if I can take the streetcar.
I miss the old ones though. Like I like the new ones. It's fine.
Okay.
But the old ones are so cute.
Do they look cute? Yeah.
Yeah, they're just cute. I don't know why we're on that topic. We can just totally find another thing to talk about.
Let's, we're going to put together a book podcast and also apparently a tram podcast.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Like I've been upset also from doing the holiday train. Like I've become obsessed. Like
fun. I want to do the train. There's the tour like across the country.
It's so expensive.
I know,
it's
but
very expensive.
It's a whole freaking week and they feed you lovely looking meals I've watched my TikTok feed was like people doing that
just trains
for a few weeks. It was like on the CP train and I was like, I'm gonna do this, and then I was like, oh, that's not just a thing you just like book and go. It's a little expensive. It's like a whole vacation.
Yeah, I know it is. I remember looking into it at one point, but yeah, the trains are just love
so cool.
It's so cool.
Well, I feel like we're just kind of just scratching the surface in our conversation, but we're coming up towards the end.
Oh no!
I know.
I feel like we could hang.
I know.
Longer. Yeah.
Stupid
this has
time.
been fun. Thank you for having me. Stupid time. Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. I love what you guys do, and you guys are really fantastic supporters of artists, and so I really appreciate having that support from you guys.
Aw,
and I know we all do. Like, the Canadian community loves you guys, so.
Don't blow our heads up.
Yeah. Keep saying nice things.
Anyways, we could keep going. Yeah. You're like, let's send the podcast.
Let's leave it with, where can people find you on the internet?
Yes, I am. I'm on Instagram at Brittany Music, so Britty Music, as well as the old TikTok. Regretfully. Regretfully, and just cut me some slack because I'm learning. And you can find me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, pretty much all the platforms. Threads. I'm on X.
Are you Thread?
Formerly known as Twitter. I know. What other ones are there? I think that's it for now. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Do you use MySpace?
Oh my God.
Who's in your top 8?
Yeah. Definitely Tom. Tom was always in the top 8.
This is how I know I'm older than Jenna. She just goes, what's that?
I was the most tail end of MySpace. Sorry.
Oh man, it was the best. What was the song? I had Cable Car as my Snow Patrol. That was my
I had I think at that time it would revolve every week, but I think I definitely had Evanescence. As one of my songs.
Angsty.
Often. Yeah.
It was so funny. It was like so subliminal messaging too, because it was like, I'm gonna put a song that my crush will know what I'm talking about.
On that note,
the 90s.
Thank you so much for joining us.
I love it. Yeah, thank you guys so much. This has been so fun.
Thanks for listening to another episode of On the Porch with Front Porch Music. We're so lucky to be able to chat with artists and make episodes like this one. If you like the podcast, remember to rate and review us, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. It's the easiest way to support the show. Remember to check out frontporchmusic.ca to keep up with new music releases, exclusive artist interviews, and more. We'll catch you again on the porch in a couple of weeks. On the Porch is hosted by Logan Miller and Jenna Weiser, and produced and edited by Jason Saunders. That's me. Our theme song was written, produced, and performed by Owen Wigling.